Hi, I'm Robert Marshall. I wanted to talk about a product that you don't see too much on YouTube. Um, Forgive me ahead of time for the low quality of this video. I'm no Adam Korlick or CGR Mark, but there's one product I wanted to talk about that for the Dreamcast that you don't see too much about on YouTube. Um, what that is here you can see we have a bunch of 2D fighters and shoot 'em ups. These kind of games are not very good with the Dreamcast D-pad. As you can see, the D-pad's kind of small. It gets kind of stiff. It's not the best D-pad in the world, and you don't want to use an analog stick for these type of games. So really the best kind of solution I can think of for playing these types of games, some of the Capcom 2D fighters, shoot 'em ups, stuff like that, is to use the Sega Saturn D-pad. It's one of the best for fighting and shoot 'em up games, I think. The D-pad's the best on the market for any system, I think. This is by far the best D-pad I've ever used. But the question is, how do you use this with the Sega Dreamcast? And that's where this comes in. We're going to use the Total Control 3. Now, I found this on PlayAsia, and I got one on Amazon. I have two of them. Now the reason I have two is they do have one minor issue. They come with a VMU connector port, but on the one I got from Amazon, it actually did not have that connected. It was broken. So you pay about $30 for it. With this, you'd only be connecting just your controller, which is fine. I mean, you can use the second ports and a Dreamcast stick to actually connect the VMU. But the way this one works is you just put this VMU in. Again, sorry about the poor quality. I'm using a Walmart camera. And it connects right there. And then you just connect it into your Dreamcast. And it actually has a pretty good length of cord. I'd say about 4 or 5 feet. And then you just connect your Sega Saturn controller into that right here. Sorry guys. And that gives you full functionality with the Saturn controller, where you can select different things. It works not only with the Saturn controller, but all Saturn accessories. For instance, you can use the Saturn steering wheel or the Saturn joysticks. I actually don't have one of those with me right now. The Saturn joysticks are a little bit cheaper than the Dreamcast one, so it's probably good for people who like that. And I'll go ahead and pop in a game, just kind of show you how it works. Let's do Street Fighter. The controller still functions as normal. You'll auto set it. Now you have the port right here where you can choose if you're going to use a steering wheel or the dual sticks, like for the Virtuon. I don't actually have the twin sticks controller for either system, but it does look like it might be cheaper on the Saturn, so that's something I might invest in. Now for most controllers, you're just going to switch it over to the steering wheel, and it'll recognize that as an arcade stick. So now, as you can see, the D-pad works just fine. And we'll go ahead and go to training mode, because obviously I'm not going to be able to play this, competitively with one hand, but okay. Just kind of selecting some stuff here. So now you have better fluidity with the controls. I think this works better for the fighting games like Capcom's Street Fighters, King of Fighters, all of SNK's games. Actually, all of the Neo Geo games released for the Dreamcast and even the homebrew movements, they work better with this. Every homebrew game that I've played so far has worked fine with it. There's been no games that I've tested that don't work with it. There's a couple games, like for instance, if you're going to play Shenmue, you don't have the analog stick for looking around. I mean, the machine will try to work it, but you're going to lose a lot of functionality with certain games if you're trying to use a Saturn stick. Now, the question that a lot of people have asked me is, can you use the 3D controller? I don't have one, but it will not recognize both the D-pad and the analog stick at the same time, so you will have to still use it only as a Saturn controller. You could only use either the analog on the 3D or the D-pad. Alright, I mean, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. It's just, I think it's a good product. And once again, it's called the Total Control 3. You can find it on PlayAsia or Amazon or eBay. They usually run about $30 to $35. Other than the VMU sticking, the only other problem I had with it was sometimes you'll have to pull kind of hard on the controller port to get it out. I'll show you that. It doesn't come out very easy. It kind of gets stuck in there and you have to kind of twist it to get it out. And if you pull too hard, I don't know, it might kind of damage that like it did with the VMU port. So you just might want to two-hand it every time you use it. But other than that, that's just one product I thought, was really good for the Dreamcast. I'm kind of new to the Dreamcast. I'm always looking at videos and things to improve the system for myself, and I hope that this video helps you and you're able to, purchase this item and use it for those 2D fighters and shoot 'em ups. Also, it works with the steering wheel for Crazy Taxi. That's the only way I play it, is with the Saturn steering wheel, which I find cheaper than any of the Dreamcast ones, and it's a really good, steering wheel. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope that you guys can keep the Dreamcast community going.